So my name is Stephen Larkin. I'm the Senior Director of Beyond Prime here with the Buyer's Edge platform. Well, I spent 15 years as a chef in a variety of establishments back in Kansas City. And I wanted to come today to talk a little bit about this big reopen and what are some good housekeeping tips that we can do in order to make sure that the menu items that we put forward as a group of restaurants, that they make the most sense and they make us the most money, they make our guests the most happy.
What recommendations would you make about, is it worth it to switch to frozen from fresh? What are some of the things that operators should be wary of or should know about when they're thinking about making that switch? And do you have any specific recommendations of where they should look or how they should utilize those products?
Absolutely. So the concept of fresh versus frozen, I know that in our heart of hearts, we want everything to be fresh, prepared from scratch. And trust me, I'm right there with you. But I also know that operationally, fresh products might be incredibly more expensive as the supply chain starts to ramp up and they are in much tighter supply. So I think that frozen really has some awesome applications that we need to be considering. But some of the ways that I like to think about it from a philosophy standpoint is, what is the structural integrity of that finished product that goes out? I like to use chicken noodle soup as an example here, where we can start taking a look at the chicken breast that goes into it. That absolutely does not need to be a 6-ounce boneless, skinless, single lobe chicken breast, because that's about the most expensive chicken you can buy. Instead, work with your distributor to understand a little bit more about what they have in the chicken breast space. Maybe it's time to start looking at random chicken breasts or even, these IQF, odd sizes, right? Mr. Distributor, tell me, I want to take a look at a cost per ounce basis. How can I get a better price on my chicken while keeping my business with you? Because we know that they don't want you to leave, but they want to see you succeed. And so that's a great, a great application for frozen chicken breast is you're going to cook it off, you're going to dice it, you're going to toss it into soup broth, and then it's going to sit there for forever, right? It does not need to be fresh chicken breast that's going into that. And again, we can take this back to the fresh versus frozen vegetable debate as well, where a lot of those vegetables that are going to be in those soups, they're going to be swimming in that soup broth all day long. It doesn't have to be a fresh item that's sitting in there because, at 11 o'clock in the morning when you open up versus 4 o'clock in the afternoon once you're getting ready for dinner service, that carrot is cooked, and it's going to be cooked whether it was fresh or frozen to begin with. But when we start talking about using these frozen products, we want to make sure that we're handling them properly, right? Because it's absolutely easy to take a frozen piece of anything and turn it into trash if you handle it wrong. So the first thing that we want to do is we make sure that we thaw the item out properly prior to actually utilizing it. So again, I'm moving back to the chicken breast analogy. And when we're thawing out individually quick frozen chicken breasts, we want to make sure that they are laid out in a single layer on a sheet pan, covered, labeled, dated in your cooler the night before. So that way, number one, it never leaves that temperature danger zone. Number two, once you get in the morning, you start cooking it, you have that fresh raw chicken breast that you were buying for a premium to begin with. And number three, we've been able to save on costs and also have this chicken breast sitting in our freezers that has a longer shelf life on it than the fresh stuff that comes in and needs to be moved out within a week.